Welcome. Family Matters. Kevin Peterson. No mistaking where he works, but Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Can you see it? I'm doing good, buddy.
Proud
It's
sponsors of the show, so he's allowed to do that. And
yeah, that's right.
you know what? I went through a Jaywalker kick, and now for whatever reason, I switched studios, and so I don't have access to my Jaywalker. But anyway,
Oh,
Jaywalker Lodge.
okay.
So, alrighty. Well, we do this every week to the best of our ability ish. Answer questions. So keep the questions coming. Calm your fears. Nothing's out of bounds. And the whole goal is to stump Kevin. So, all right, Kevin.
Yeah, man. Ready when you are. Still, I mean, I'm like I haven't had a loss yet, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's we may not get into the questions, but I think it's interesting. I was talking with someone else within this industry, and we were talking about family recovery and a lot of the failings of some, but he said something about it. God, I wish I could remember it. He was saying it just seems nowadays that unconditional love has turned into unconditional tolerance of bad behavior. And that hit me to my core. And I think a lot of times when dealing with families, I think they fall back on, well, I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm the spouse. And so we need to have unconditional love. And it hasn't, when we're talking, let's just say struggling, addiction, mental health, has it turned into unconditional tolerance of bad behavior?
Well, it's really interesting. I'm gonna, I'm going to the premise of the question before I answer the question. I don't believe in unconditional love. I think I think it's nonsense. I think everyone has conditions. If I am behaving like an addict and alcoholic and selling the furniture and stealing your car, you can't say, well, I have unconditional. No, the love is, based upon a condition of you got to get your shit together. I mean, I'm gonna love you from a distance. Okay, but that's conditional, right? You got to stay away from me. You got to get your shit together, and then we'll be happy. I still love you, but you're going to be. The conditions are you got to be at a distance. So I'll tell you, I get unconditional love from that those munchkins back there. They love me no matter what, and that's great.
Do we know that? Do we know that for sure?
Yeah, no, it's been tested. When I go to Colorado, the little white one, Stella, sits in the window of the front yard and whines and wants to know when I'm coming back. My wife's like, she's in the window crying. You can't leave. I'm like, okay. So that's number one. Okay. But I think that belief system is what you're talking about. And we just had a family weekend and we talked a lot about that. And so here's what I get all the time. Well, Kevin, what you're describing is in codependency is being a mom. I'm like, well, okay, I hear you. Let's talk about that. So what you're saying is as a mom, you're supposed to clean up his mess, call his lawyer, call the probation officer, make his appointments, do his laundry, cook his food, and clean up the house. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, he's 30. When they're 12, I get it. But you're also supposed to be teaching them how to do those things, not doing those things. And I think that's where people get lost, right? I think they misunderstand that at a certain point, you have to start stepping back and allowing them. And here's what we talked about this last weekend. That's really hard because I watch them speed into a wall at 100 miles an hour. And I know what they're doing is wrong, and I know it's going to suck. So I have to stop that. And we were like, no, you don't got to stop nothing. You need to allow him to run into that wall at 100 miles an hour. And then, put him in an environment like ours, and be like, well, you're obviously going to kill yourself. So, this is what we're going to do. And, take that opportunity in that time to change you. We had last night, we had Kevin McCauley Dr. Kevin McCauley from Pleasure Unwoven in the Meadows, speak at our family group last night, and he made a really interesting statement. I think I wrote it down. Hold on. He said, all it takes is one person in the family to get into recovery, and that will start the change. And I threw down, yeah, and it doesn't have to be the addict. And they were like, oh. And my big thing is, we have to change the family system that the addict is a part of. And that means you're going to change the way you behave and the way you treat him and the way you act and the way you approach all this stuff. And that's going to force him to change. But when the family changes, when the family starts saying things like, oh, hey, we love you, and the answer is no, we're going to trust the clinical team at Jaywalker. And if you choose to leave, that's your choice, but you're going to do so without any financial or emotional support from us whatsoever. That's the family changing.
Here's the curveball that I'll throw at you, because it comes up with several families, and I agree it only takes one person. But let me throw this curveball at you: the divorced couples, and one is doing the healthiness, and the other refuses to kind of even go along with the program, and by that means enabling kind of torching all the progress.
Sure.
How do you handle that?
You think you stumped me, right?
I just hit a curveball. I mean, you can hit a curveball.
Oh no, this one's going out of the park. Into McCovey Cove, So here's the thing. I grasp on to whoever is willing to come to the weekly meetings with me. And in those weekly meetings, I am relentless. Are you seeing a therapist? Okay, you are? Great. What are you talking about? What kind of a therapist is it? Do they understand codependency, addiction, and trauma? No? Okay, then first things first, you have to get on board. And so generally that's the one that's, super codependent, super, and compensating for the other one, right? And by the way, it's not always the mom, and so it's about being able to say, okay, I get it, and I hear you, and yes, I'll give you a quick update on your kid, but I want you to understand something. You have to change. And I'm telling you, man, I have one. Well, this is something we have all the time. All the time. Parents don't get along, a very negative divorce. And I'm like, look, and I'll say this to their face. You either put your kid's needs first in this situation or don't come, because you're actually hurting him, not helping him. And what? And I'm like, well, I'm serious. He's going to die. And if all you can do is use this as an opportunity to beat on the ex whatever, that's not helping. That's not helping him. We got to put the addict, and I don't mean put them first, but we got to get recovery first. And so you, mom or dad, have to get past the ex. And if the ex wants to come, great. And if they don't, that's okay too. We get that a lot. Okay. And we're okay with that. Generally what happens, Jay, is that they see the progress with the kid and the rest of the family, and they're like, okay, what's going on here? How do I get involved in this? We're like, sure, give me a call. We'll talk about it. But it's about them being committed to changing the family system in order to help the addict, because the addict will die. When you lay it out like that, we can generally get past that stuff. And what'll happen, last thing, what'll happen is they'll use that as a platform to trash talk the other one. And I'll call that out. I'm like, hey, I'm not mediating your divorce. Okay, that's over with. I'm here to help you save this kid's life. So if you can't let go of that, that tells me that you need a different therapist. And if you can't address this stuff, that tells me you need a different therapist. And let me help you find a good therapist. Let me help you find some good meetings, and then come to my homework, do my work, and we're going to start making a difference. And it happens, man. It happens. There are some people that are like, I'm not doing this. And I'll say, okay, cool. But you understand, one of my key phrases is, you can't expect him to do something you're not willing to do. And I tell the clients, call out your parents. Hey, I'm busting my ass here. You doing your homework? So.
Well, I mean, when you have one that's putting in these boundaries and one that's letting them, rip roar through the world, there's not always a Kevin Peterson or a Jaywalker family department. I mean, it happens where the addict, the alcoholic, will always know that the other one who's not putting in the boundaries, that's got to get frustrating when there's always an out. You have half of the relationship putting those healthy boundaries in. I've heard the question, what's the point of putting these boundaries in when the other's not even going to do anything? They're going to always rescue.
I'll tell you why. When you start putting in the healthy boundaries and stop rescuing and stop problem solving, and they're over at the other house where it's the tornado of chaos, drama, and crisis, they'll get sick of that. And I do this when I have kids that aren't even addicts or alcoholics, where the parents are divorced. They're like, whoa. And I'm like, number one, don't want to hear about the other person. Number two, let me be clear, in years of doing this work, kids, and I say kids, I mean all the way up in their 30s, crave stability, consistency, accountability, transparency, and that comes from boundaries. So if you say, hey, I'm your father, I'm your mother, you are welcome in my house, no drugs, no alcohol, you got to be self-supporting, you got to be addressing your mental health. And if you need help with those things, I'm here to help you. But if you're going to go down the party route, you not here. And I'm telling you, it will work. And every family I've ever worked with in that situation, the kid eventually rotates over to where it's safe. For a while, it feels fun. And then they're like, this is ridiculous. I got to go. And I get over at mom's place or dad's place, I get fed, I get clothes. As long as I follow the rules, my life's great, and if I'm having trouble with the rules, they'll help me. That's the key piece. So.
You think family recovery, or kind of the family doing their own work, is kind of the biggest thing? Let's just say in general, treatment facilities don't tell families.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this before. God bless the 30-day programs that run insurance, but what's their incentive to if you fix the family, you fix the guy, he's never coming back. So, you and I both know those places count on, frequent flyers and repeat business. And that's just, the stuff I like to do and the stuff we do at Jaywalker, we don't want repeat business. We don't want you back. We want you to get it together, and we want the family to hold you accountable with love and empathy and compassion and boundaries, and say, we're in this for the long haul, for ourselves and for you. And if you choose to go back to that way of life, we can't help you.
Yeah.
And I think that's, in our industry, and there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Empty words, empty talk about, family, we're family. And I'm like,
yes, which is
no, you're not. Yeah, it's hooey, malarkey. And because they're not. And because they're not in, it takes time. You don't get paid for it. There's no insurance company's going to pay you. 90% of the people I work with are not in Colorado or Florida, so I can't bill it as it's coaching. It's not therapy, and that's fine. That's why I designed the program. But there's no profit in it, other than the fact that we have a reputation that is, hey, these guys dig in and help you with the family system, because they don't want your kid to come back. And that's what makes the difference. Let me tell you something, Jay, and you know this for a fact. We have people that have gone to 5, 10, 15, 20 other treatment programs. Just this last weekend, we had a couple of characters that have been, the mom and dad have been to many family weekends, and they sorry, and they said
Now you got a
this
fan
is
club.
different. I know this Jennifer Ahern. Hold on, let me see if this is better. What this lovely family said, and they're from Dallas, and they said,
D-Town.
we've never done anything like this before. No one has ever focused this hard on us and make us work and take care of us. And this family weekend was experiential and educational. And we don't do cage match therapy. We don't throw them in a room. Okay, let them have it. That's all crap. I always tell people, we want you to actually like each other, and then we'll build a foundation and have that stuff. So that's how I roll. That's how we roll.
Well, you're talking numerous treatment centers, and Jaywalker is one of the best. I mean, if not the best. I will throw that out there. Shameless plug, but it goes to where my head's been in meditation and kind of journaling, for the last like 3 weeks or something, is when relapse happens, how quickly everyone kind of gathers up and starts talking treatment. And sometimes I think, why throw them back in treatment when there's zero desire or willingness to even change?
No. Oh, no. But, and yes, I agree with you 1,000%. And I can help you get to that space with the individual. I can definitely help you move that way. And what that's going to require is the family holding boundaries and being really clear and concise and saying, we love you, but we're not going to do this anymore. And when you're ready, we will help you. But that's the best thing the family can do. I mean, we've talked about this. Your family did it to you. My family did it to me. And I preach this to the families we work with. So
how dare my family step in and get me better? But, I'm still resentful at that. Jaywalker does not have a women's program. We got a question.
Nope.
So,
nope. But
I don't know why, but I'll just say it, could be Sally Walker,
Yeah. I mean, we did name it after you, and
I'm you don't have to tell everyone that, but well, is that my behavior? Because I'm still a criminal jaywalker. Like, I do not like crosswalks.
Well, it's the fire truck you got to look out for, bro.
So why? Now you got me in deep. I mean, what?
Oh yeah.
What do you think is? If you were starting with a family, what's kind of the first what's the first hurdle? What's the first little win when dealing with doing something different in regards to family recovery? Does that make sense?
The first thing?
What's the first little win or something that, because it's a big deal. This is not something you do in a week, and this is not something you do in a 3-day. You can start the process, but is it as simple as the kind of the first step of like step one, like they're powerless over their loved ones? Is that like understanding of that?
Yeah, I mean, my first thing that I do with the family is because everyone's like, here's your copy of Codependent No More, and here's your Al-Anon meeting list, and I'm like, no. I built out this online education portal. It's basically an online class, okay? And it sits on a really neat backbone that we use. And you log in, and it says, "Oh, you're back. Here's where you left off." And the first section is addiction, understanding addiction. The second section is understanding recovery. The third section is understanding codependency, and the fourth is understanding trauma. The fifth is family systems, and the sixth is mental health. So why do I do it that way? Right now, the best thing I can do with the families is educate them. Psychoeducate them, because they don't understand what addiction is. They really don't. And even if they think they do, most of them don't, so cannot see your faces, just his hat and your chest. So it sounds like the picture is not going through properly. Because, you want my face, that's for sure.
I don't, I mean, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, I know.
I have lost weight. Maybe it's just,
Could be. Me too. Could be.
Maybe the camera thinks it's a different person.
Yeah. So, it is just so critical to give these folks an opportunity to figure things out, and understand and educate them, because then they're like, oh, okay, now I understand what addiction is. They think it's lack of willpower, or they think, oh, it's because, he was yelled at or he was bullied or any kind of, it's trauma. I'm like, no, because everybody has trauma and everybody's not an addict. So there probably was trauma. Sure. Not arguing with that, but he reacts differently to alcohol and drugs. And so, he probably did initially be like, want to soothe himself. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, I can't stop. That's what we're looking for, is that I can't stop stuff. And then we can, once we get them stable, then we can go back and clean that stuff up. But for the families, I have to educate them on that process so they have a better understanding and a better expectation of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and why we're going to do it. So there you go. Long answer, short question.
Well, you did good.
Yeah?
We kind of got into the mind of Jay, and what things that you said have just kind of led me into. So I promise, I know we have one or two, that we've talked about, and we've kind of weaved into today's show. But next time we'll keep the questions coming. But Kevin, you can take the day off, and I certainly am, because the British Open's on.
Well, okay. That's critical.
I don't want to call myself out for being, sensational, but I very rarely ever work during the majors. Like, sorry to all the people that have employed me through the years, but I actually worked this morning, and that is just tells you what I'm a great guy.
Well, it does.
And I never even have the British Open on in the background, because I knew if I did that, I would not pay attention to zero things. So,
Oh, no. And, well, trust me, there's been a lot of sessions in the last 6 weeks where I've been like, I'm not looking at my iPad watching the World Cup. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I will see you, Kevin. We'll do this to the best of our ability. Take the rest of the day off.
You bet. You too, man. Talk to you later.
No stomach, but it's good to see your stomach or your face or whatever.